was so interesting to film this podcast. The whole idea was that it was going to be authentic and hopefully just a take or two. Whilst we sort of to just do the trial, we ended up using the first cut. Interesting though, because the only thing I said to my friend Nadia was that let's make this as authentic as possible. Let's just go with the flow.
This is how we do this. In one way, I'm yours. In one way, we're strangers.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to Winifred Mills's From Finance to Fashion. Spilling the financial tea and stitching couture dreams. I have here with me a dear friend, Nadia Madi. I met Nadia many years ago when we both worked for an international organization. Do you remember, Nadia? It was at a talent show and you actually won. It was amazing. I remember seeing you then and you sang so beautifully.
Thank you.
And from then on, you were kind of etched in my brain. I met a couple more times.
Yes.
And coffee here, coffee there. And fast forward many years later, when I was thinking to dip my toes in the entrepreneur waters, I thought to reach out to you actually. And I did reach out to you and we met for coffee. It was interesting, wasn't it?
It was amazing. It was beautiful. And I love how our relationship blossomed to where it is right now. I remember that meal that we had together and the conversations we had. It was just a dream unfolding.
And I'd like to believe knowing Nadia must have helped shape the way the conversations were. It was ideal using Nadia for the first episode. And I remember you were so helpful. I knew nothing. Do you remember? I was even asking you to help me post an Instagram page or whatever. Yeah. And it was so lovely. You helped me out with so many tips and stuff. And we promised to stay in touch.
Yes.
Shortly after the pandemic, wasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, after everything had unfolded. And fast forward to us today, I am so happy you agreed to join me here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
The structure I've had in mind for this podcast is to have various friends take up the seat, pull up the chair to join me at the table. I chose Nadia to be the first lady to join me. It's interesting to see who will join me for the second episode. But where the conversation just flowed, it was interesting how it developed into the questions that evolved.
First of all, do you still have that notebook? Because you took a lot of notes that day. So I was like, do you still have that?
I do. I haven't got it here with me, but I promise next time I will bring it with me. I really did take down all the notes, didn't I? I was so particular with everything you had to share. Mm-hmm. One, because I know time is valuable. Yeah. And I was so grateful that you had, because you were so busy. You had a course on that day, I think, and you did rush over to finish your course, and you had to do something with the kids and rush over to see me. So I was going to take advantage of every moment.
I know. And look where you are.
Thank you. This brings us to this podcast. I'm thinking, well, I'm sure a lot of people would wonder why this podcast. And I'm sure, like you have as well, so many people have been asking me, what, how, which. And I was thinking, I'm sharing the same narrative time and time again. And I thought, this would be a fantastic opportunity to bring us all together.
Absolutely.
And so we could sort of talk about what everybody wants to know.
Yes, absolutely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my phone because I have a few questions of what people have been waiting to ask you. Winnie, the big question. Run us through the journey and how did you start Winifred Mills and what created this beautiful brand that brought you here today?
Oh, Nadia, where should I start? It's a journey that took so many twists and turns. It all started one lovely afternoon having lunch with my mother in the kitchen at home. And then I saw an advert prompting registrations of a license in 5 minutes. And I'm like, really? What do? I drop everything else. I dash off to the cafe where this is happening. And lo and behold, I could do a license in 5 minutes. Guess what? I did 2 licenses. One for fashion and one for arts and crafts.
Wow.
No idea what I was going to use it for. Got home and I was like, Mama, guess what? I have got a license. 2 of all. Mom is like, so what are you going to do with it? No idea. I was like, oh my God. Exactly 1 week later, exactly in the same spot, having lunch again with my mother, I see another advert calling all SMEs to attend a show, an exhibition. And I'm thinking, I do an investigation, I call them up. And of course, I'm allowed to attend. What do? I register to attend. This show or exhibition, as it were, was exactly 4 weeks to the day that I had registered. Nadia had nothing.
Nice.
I had absolutely nothing.
It's like you're calling.
It was like, that was the turning point. And I was sat there thinking, all I have is the license. What do I do from now? I reached out to my sister in Accra, in Ghana. And she thought I was nuts. And I said to her, no, listen, I have registered to do this. We had a family holiday planned 2 weeks after that, which I could not postpone. So within 4 weeks, with the help of tailors, I had no idea what I was doing. We managed to put a few pieces together. My sister flew in with the items and we attended this exhibition. I look back now and I'm thinking, that was just madness.
Absolutely. Especially because you were working. And I remember we were on the same building, same floor probably. And I remember you were a busy person. Getting you to your job, the corporate world, and then running back and doing what you do now, it's phenomenal.
I don't even know how I did it, except that I work on my faith. I just run on my faith. I do not look back.
Yeah.
I go with my faith, I believe God, God is leading the way, and then that's it. Most of the time, I really do believe I'm just a passenger in God's vehicle, because the things that I do, I don't give it much thought. And as you just mentioned, I'm so busy with work, so busy with my son, having to go on a family holiday, and the time zones. A year was a different time zone. Holiday destination was a different time zone. My sister in Ghana was a different time zone. It was crazy. By the time my sister got everything together, arrived here, a couple of days later the exhibition started. It was crazy. And I would come home after work, change very quickly, and go to this exhibition. Now, this exhibition was in the Maiden, and there was meant to be a lot of footfall and all the rest of it. Fortunately or unfortunately, there was no footfall. So it added to the whole ridiculousness of what I was doing.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense, and it was so much expenditure with trying to do branding stuff, and I had no idea what I was doing. I got bags branded and packaging branded, and in the name that I even chose, my God, I look back and I cringe. And then the pandemic took hold. This exhibition that was meant to take place over a 5-day period was cut down to 3. And then a couple of days later, the country went into lockdown.
It was a tough time.
It was.
It was. I had to shut down my business because of that. I see that where you've still taken an entire pandemic and still be able to kind of push through and work on the dream, that is progression.
It is, but it wasn't easy. It was tough. First of all, I had no idea what I was doing. This pandemic happened, and I found myself at home surrounded by all these products that I had no idea how I even came to do them. The branding stuff, the packaging stuff. And I was like, now, nobody knew where this world was getting to. But I decided to take hold of it and get back to basics. I do not come from a fashion background. I'm a chartered accountant by profession. And so it was a crash course, and I learned a lot. I signed up to the master class. I was learning with Job Frostenberg, with Mark Jacobs online, and these are online courses, by the way.
Was that on entrepreneurship or?
It was just on setting up a brand, how to set up a fashion brand, I beg your pardon, and all the intricacies that went with it. And if you imagine that when I did start, I just registered the business. I just had a license. I hadn't thought through the name of the brand, what it represented. It was, and I was working full time. Remember, we were working from home, and then after working hours, one would get into this entrepreneurial mode of learning and learning and learning. Fast forward 18 months later, I rebranded. Well, from what it was, I started and decided to go with my name, Winifred Mills, and then I launched online in September of 2020, and it was also exciting. Do you remember?
I do remember. Suddenly I'm getting flashbacks of everything. Oh my God.
It was crazy. And I remember launching online. I spoke to one of my, I was part of this networking group. I spoke to the lady, and I said to her, listen, I'm ready to launch. And then she said, presumably you've got your payment gateway and everything everything in place. And I was like, sorry, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by a payment gateway? And she was like, Winnie, how are you going to take the money from the website? I was like, yeah, that too. It was crazy. It was crazy. So I went into panic mode. But with assistance, I was able to get the payment gateway into the website and get it ready for the launch at 5 p.m. on the 21st of September.
It's like entrepreneurship, a thing within your family, or is it just, was it you?
I think,
Like
my mom was a radiographer working in the radiography department in Ghana. And but she always had like a side hustle. But she always said that I didn't have that entrepreneurial spirit. Simply because I never quite exhibited it. My younger sister is a serial entrepreneur who tries her hands on all kinds of things. She's always doing one thing or other. Okay. But my mother never thought that I had the bug.
I know.
I never thought I did actually. But I am a problem solver, and
Yes.
I like to solve problems.
Yes.
And I feel that the problem of not finding clothes to fit my body shape, other body shapes, diverse body shapes, I was like, enough already. Somebody has to solve that problem.
And there's something I've always known about you. You've always never focused on the problem. You've always focused on the solution.
Yes.
Right? And for me, I know for a fact that it's not easy coming into the entrepreneurial world where we have no experience whatsoever.
Absolutely.
We're just thrown ourselves in there and we're like, what? And I think that's what it is about dreams, right?
Yeah.
There's so many people that dream out there, but they're not, how do we get to that next step? You were able to do that. What would you tell people? What would you be the one thing that you think that has religiously helped you get one step ahead?
I think it's just doing it. Just taking that first step. I think people give too much thought to it. What if, forget what if, just do it. You will learn as you get along. I've made so many mistakes, don't get me wrong, but each time you get that knock, you pick yourself up and then you move on. You learn more. I do remember, and you would remember as well, I did not know how to post on Instagram. Actually, my sister my sister was the one who set up the account for me, because when we went to that exhibition, she just kept saying to me, you have to open an Instagram account. She did open it, and then she was like, you follow people, you post hashtag. What is hashtag? I just didn't get it. But I was doing it, and then somewhere along the line, I felt I needed someone to help me with, but I still wanted to understand it. I wanted to do it. Now I manage my own Instagram account. Yes, there will be mistakes. It's not the best. I'm not a photographer, but I learn, and I just do it. This is what I say to people. So many people come to me. This is why we're doing this podcast, and they ask all sort of questions. Everybody's like, "How what?" And I'm like, you know what? Just do it.
Well, honestly, Winnie, thank you so much for creating a platform, starting up this podcast to help so many like-minded people who dream of becoming their own boss at the end of the day. And this is such a beautiful business. I love your line of clothes. They're absolutely unique, phenomenal, and they've got a touch of who you are. It represents you at the end of the day. I personally shopped from you, so I absolutely love it because I carry a little bit of Winnie around me, and I absolutely love it.
Oh, thank you so much, and I'm just so happy you agreed to join me today. You agreed to pull up your chair and join me at the table. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna do this again real soon. Okay?
Until next time. Thank you, my darling. Thank you.
See you.
Thank you. And there we have it at the end of episode 1. I'm so excited I did do it. And I still insist, just take that first step. There will be mistakes, but we'll learn from them. Until episode 2, see you then.